moment of reckoning for the entire world. The Secretary General spoke to it, the Prime Minister, and so together with international partners, including the United Nations, Pakistan is now undertaking an urgent and extraordinary initiative to save lives, restore livelihoods, and rebuild a nation. Pakistan, as you just said, Minister, faces a long road to recovery. The wider world faces a choice, because the truth is that these events are increasingly predictable, and only the latest in a series of such disasters in Pakistan and beyond, historic climate events that are becoming the new normal. Today, on the 9th of January, we are meeting. Look to the east in Australia, extraordinary flood events. Look to the west in California, extreme weather events. Look to Central Europe, and people are wondering what happened to snow in winter. We are living in profoundly changing times. And in Pakistan, at this moment, we have an opportunity to choose a new direction with an innovative model for international cooperation. And I have to say that when just a few weeks ago we began an intense effort of convening and organizing this conference here, framed not as a pledging conference, but really as a conference about how we move beyond reacting to every disaster by having just an emergency response. This conference is being convened by Pakistan and the United Nations with a different logic and also a different aspiration. And I hope that by the time that you leave this conference venue this evening, you will feel reassured that the call to the world that Pakistan sent out to friends, supporters, partners to step up at this critical moment has actually been responded to. A few weeks ago, that was not at all self-evident. I must say today I feel extremely excited about the prospect of framing a new form of response and partnership. It is time to step up and support the long term, the systems-based approaches to recovery when disaster strikes again. Pakistan, and that is a recognition that I think the world also recognized, is not in its plight alone. And indeed, it is not even in the broader context of climate change one of the most significant emitters, less than 1%. And yet it is, in terms of its ranking on the Global Climate Risk Index, the 8th most vulnerable country in the world. And to those who say, well, is climate change and flood events really linked? How else would you explain what Pakistan in just one decade has been experiencing, not in terms of just on its own, but remember the images of the last 12 months, of forest fires, of droughts, of floods, of extreme weather events, hurricanes, typhoons. This is the new normal, and we need to, as an international community, find a way in which we together can respond to this new normal. The government of Pakistan, as you have also laid out just now, is doing its part in recovery and reconstruction, but it will need financial and technical support to tackle the massive development challenges that lie ahead, including building the systems for resilience. Advancing reconstruction of this type will require fiscal space on the back of COVID-19 that is currently severely constrained in Pakistan, as you also said, Minister. Creating this space will require new pathways for support, including private sector investments facilitated by innovative financial instruments, including the de-risking of private capital and support for a pipeline of broader investment opportunities, including some of the innovative forms that you mentioned just now. Here and now, that process must begin with new investments in climate resilience, broader coalitions of partners, and just a look around this room and the announcements you will hear today will, I think, illustrate that this is not a desired future. It is now becoming, through the experience that Pakistan has gone through, a reality that we all are part of. And critically, collective responsibility for the shocking loss and damage from which no nation will be immune in the future, as also the Foreign Minister of Switzerland pointed out in his opening remarks. Assessing the extent of damages and losses has been a pivotal part of this joint response under the leadership of the Ministry of Planning, Development and Special Initiatives, the United Nations, together with the Asia Development Bank, the European Union, the World Bank, and our UN sister agencies also in the UN country team, work together with you to complete the post-disaster needs assessment, the foundation for today's framework for recovery. And it identified some 16 billion in urgently needed financing to support the recovery. The assessment directly informed this resilient recovery, rehabilitation, reconstruction framework, the 4RF. We always have strange ways of baptizing these very real things into very technocratic language, but 4RF it is. a comprehensive policy-based approach comprising sectoral interventions, public and private sector financial strategies, and implementation and monitoring arrangements. We now look forward to the presentation of this framework, and I also want to particularly thank His Excellency Professor Ahsan Iqbal, the Minister of Planning, Development and Reform of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, for the excellent partnership that we as an international community, and I think, Martin, I speak on your behalf as well, have enjoyed in working together under great pressure, but also with great purpose and direction in the last few months. Thank you so much.